pages. You know it's true.
Welcome to Fins TV. I hope Fins Sammy, aka Fins Sammy. This is another edition of Fins TV, Steve.
Absolutely, Sammy. So our good feelings of season 2025 lasted all of about, I don't know, one drive, maybe? I don't know. It was very short-lived. I'm glad that we're as always, we can come together, a good group of people to talk ourselves back off the ledge, and usually by the end of this hour, 90 minutes or so, we're ready to turn the page and get into the next week's game. So let's see how that works this week.
Absolutely. We're going to be joined by Ashley and Lou, 305 Sports Wave of the So Flo Sports Show. We're going to our friend Sarney from the USA Today, and of course Shari Hallett from the Fins TV crew. So let's go straight to the headlines. On this episode, Steve, well, what can I tell you? Like you said, the assignment of the season maybe lasted maybe half a drive, maybe even less, as the Dolphins go to Indianapolis and get whooped, get whacked by the Indianapolis Colts. Also, on this episode is the 0 hour for the Miami Dolphins. The fans are turning, the celebrities are turning on the Dolphins. the former players are turning the Dolphins. It's not looking good. This season is not looking good, Steve. And we're gonna play some. We have to play something. So we're gonna play. What's the word? We're gonna see what's the word for the 2025 Miami Dolphins, Steve.
One word. That's going to be the biggest challenge, keeping it down to just one word. So we'll see how I do with that.
Absolutely, Steve. So we're gonna start with the highlights or lack thereof of the Dolphins game against the Colts.
Coming right out here in his first drive.
D. Eskridge on the return for Miami, trying to get to the outside. Eskridge has a
Coming right in his first drive.
D. Eskridge on the screen. Took it by low for Tyreek Hill. Too high and picked off. Cameron.
What do we need the Dolphins?
2nd down and 7. Josh Downs is his first catch and very close to a first down in the first quarter for Tyler Warren. Now Taylor up the middle. He's got some room. Jonathan Taylor. Locates Taylor. Taylor turns it upfield. Jonathan Taylor with good blocking. Quarter 15 for Miami. Jones with pressure coming. Flag is down, and so is Daniel Jones. Taken down by Bradley Jones with time. Touch pass. He's got a man. Pittman. Touchdown. Right guard for the injured James Daniels. Achan on first down. Achan finds a hope. To in trouble. He lost the football, and the Colts have it. And it's the former Dolphin, Xavier Howard. Jones trying to do it himself. Daniel Jones fighting. He's in. Touchdown. He was proud of Tyreek for the changes he is starting to make. And here is Tyreek a lot today. 3rd and long. Tua over the middle. It's caught for a first down. Tua, pressure coming. He never saw it. Nick Cross with 2nd down and 17. Tua to Malik Washington. Blockers ahead. Washington with 3rd down and 8. Tua, pressure coming. Tua steps up, and now he goes down. Jones on 4th down. Quick pass, and he's got Downs for the first down. Tagovailoa with time. Now fires over the middle, picked off. It's Latu dropping in coverage on the return, and he's taken out of bounds at their own 42-yard line. Jones to the air on first down. Deep shot for Alec Pierce. Great adjustment. Was he inbounds?
I think
Yes!
it was Ursay Gordon on the sideline, one of Jim's daughters, who also spoke at halftime as Tyreek Hill makes that catch to try and get us back in this game.
Achan. He's 28, and he's got a big run. He's 6. Tua, pump fakes, now throws, incomplete. That's Malik Washington taking the handoff from Tua Tagovailoa, and a good job by Washington. 1.5 to go on 2nd down. Tagovailoa has an open Jalen Waddle.
Clock ran out, but they let him make the play.
Achan has a first down and more. Inside the 10 and shoved out of bounds by Bynum. Tua swings that one to Achan. Slips one tackle, cuts it up at the 5. Can he get in?
Well, Steve, that was a disappointment for sure. We didn't have huge expectations. I was kind of queasy about the game. I had a close game. But I know the Dolphins usually don't play great in Indianapolis. That's never been the norm. But the disappointment reaching levels even not expected for me. I want to know your thoughts about the game. And we're not going to talk a lot about the game per se because we had some guests waiting in the lobby. But I want to know your thoughts about the game, Steve.
I don't. I'll say one thing right now. I don't care if you thought Miami was going to lose. There's nobody out there in their right mind that thought that they were going to lose that badly. That was horrible. And this is all I'm going to say because this really sums it up extremely well. I'm going to let our genius head coach speak for me here. And I won't do the when he talks. I'm just going to give it to you straight here.
You wonder why the place always late. Can you imagine
my God.
That must be why.
Okay, hold on. Sorry, I got a pop-up here that hit me. Okay, when you lose the turnover game, -3, you turn the ball over on downs, you run into the kicker, you have 12 guys in the huddle, and you only have 20 minutes with the ball in your possession. That's a formula for failure and nothing else. We have one direction to go from here, and it's the opposite direction of what this effort produced. Mike McDaniel said it well. I said it a little more succinctly using his own words for him here, but That's it. That's all I got to say on this. It was just the one of our feature segments. I've got a lot more to say here, but it was embarrassing. My company was going to let me wear my jersey to work on Monday. There was no way in hell I was going to wear my jersey to work on Monday after that performance, and I'm dead serious. It's embarrassing.
Listen, I love the aqua and orange. I have so much stuff in aqua and orange. Polos, hats, tennis shoes, you name it. I'm gonna still wear it. And over here it's easy because oh, that's nice. You work for the seaport or something? That dolphin is very cute. So people over here doesn't necessarily know all about the dolphins. But it's I don't want to match. I don't want to bash Mike McDaniel, the person, because I'm sure he's a great guy as a person, and he's going. I've said this before. I think he's going to do great on ESPN, unless they put in with that ass clown.
No way.
In the morning, bashing me every morning. But I've never been a true Mike McDaniel believer. The tide is turning on him. We're going to talk in the zero segment about that. But that performance, you had the complete off season to prepare for that game, and that's the egg you laid. It's absurd, and you can see the signs during preseason. In fact, there were some people saying, "Well, it's only preseason; they're not gonna." But you can see they didn't look organized. They looked flat. They didn't have and Aruma just outcoached them. It was embarrassing. I've been destroyed. Sad, I said it before. Destroyed, sad, mad, depressed about the Dolphins. There were times when the Dolphins lose in the Dan Marino days, and the depression, because I'm gonna call it depression because basically what I was depressed until parts of Thursday sometimes. I've never been this mad in my life about the Miami Dolphins. Just plainly mad. I don't usually get mad about this. I try to be the positive one. We're gonna find a way to spread the positivity as a community, to help each other, to rely on each other, to support each other, because we're not gonna be able to carry the product of the field to do that.
It's one thing to spread positivity and a humanity type perspective. It's another thing to just constantly show up and just like shoot rainbows through the sky and say this is how it's going to be. I the last couple of years, Sammy, I have been team no expectations. I seriously, last year was my practice run. Shari was on board with me, this year. Set the expectations low, and my next evolution in here is to really, truly just stop being so emotionally vested in it so I can enjoy my company that's around us, because we really do have a phenomenal group of people that come to all of our games at our house, and just trying to enjoy it a lot more with them. So, yeah. But
absolutely. Well, without further ado, let's bring the Fins TV crew of Shari Hallett and Mr. Jason Sarney of the USA.
Hello.
I'm gonna ladies first. So I'm gonna start with Shari. Shari, again, we didn't have huge expectations, but not even this goes to the level of no expectation. This was just horrible for a season opener. What are your thoughts?
My first thought is I'm fairly certain my husband just said on a podcast that I'm not right in the head, because he said there wasn't anybody on earth who could see this coming, who thought it was going to be this bad. They're not right in the head.
This bad?
All of you on this podcast, what did I say last week? I said this is going to be a terrible year. It's okay, probably not as bad. I'm teasing, but I have full expectation that we're going to get our asses handed to us up and down the field. There were areas I was surprised about. The defensive line, I expected better line play. I mean, that was supposed to be our strength. And my God, when we make somebody as average as that quarterback look like he's a star in week one, it was just a colossal failure on all aspects, all levels, all parts of the field. There was one part, and right now it's escaping my brain, but one part where everybody in the room was like, he needs to challenge this call. He needs to challenge this call. And I said, my God, why? Nothing has gone right so far. What on earth makes any of you think he's going to win when he never, even if it was it would have been a right challenge. He doesn't win those right now. So my sister and I, we love, and if Matt was here, he would agree, we love the replacements. At the very beginning of that game, I looked at how it was going. It got worse and worse. I turned to my sister and I said, what one word is in your head right now? And she said, one word. And she said, quicksand. And I said, absolutely. We're about to see quicksand. That is my big concern. And it was. We never got anything going. It never looked like it was going to become a positive experience. It was just dreadful from start to finish, and there were failures everywhere.
Absolutely. Quicksand is a great point. We talked before on Fins TV about the snowball effect. You can see the injury, the Daniels injury, and here we go. As it goes here comes the injury, here comes the snowball. You mentioned Matt. Shout out to Matt. We miss you, Matt. We hope you can join us at that next comment. We're always thinking of you.
Miss you, brother.
And for a change, Mike McDaniel probably should have challenged that play. If he challenges the one he loses, he probably should have challenged that, and he did it.
And that's how it went all day.
That's the theme of the game for sure. Jason, you know me. I love Atomic Jason. I love when Jason goes red in the head, and on Sunday after the game, oh my guy Jason was pissed. By now you're probably down to earth because that's the kind of guy you are. But I want to know your thoughts about the clusterfuck that was the Dolphins at Indianapolis.
Quicksand's a great word, and Shari, you were very, very correct when we met last week, and you had no expectations, and I thought it was going to be a close game, but there was no closeness from the get-go. Yeah, you know what? The Colts drive down the field, you hold them to a field goal. All right, nice win. And then what do? You turn the ball over on the first possession on a throw that Manute Bol couldn't have caught to Tyreek Hill. For those of you who don't know who Manute Bol is, he was 7'7", an NBA player. But the fact of the matter is, this was a disaster. There was no creativity there. I mean, look, we went in saying this front seven and Anthony Weaver is going to scheme with the 4 pass rushers, and we're going to see Chomp line up differently, and we're going to see Judon come in. Matt Judon played one special team snap in 2 years prior to coming to the Dolphins, and on a punt, he runs into the punter, and they negate getting the ball back. You referenced the challenge that should have happened. I know the game was out of reach, but there's something called getting little wins, even when you know you're going to lose, and that goes back to what I was saying last week on why I was so ticked off on the last game of the year last year with Tyreek Hill, who pulled himself out of the game. You might have looked up at the scoreboard and seen the Broncos winning. Playoff hopes are over. But don't you want to sweep the Jets? Don't you want to go in there into their building and beat them and end your year on a positive note? So there's no salvaging of anything. And McDaniel looked as checked out as I've ever seen a coach from the second quarter on. There was no intensity. And get ready, folks. This is going to be a bad year. I mean, we're going into a Patriot game next week against Mike Vrabel, who has had our number as a coach and as a player. And you're going up against a quarterback in Drake May, who's a multifaceted quarterback, and we have trouble with quarterbacks who can use their legs and arms. Look at what Daniel Jones did to us, for God's sake. And I just don't see a turnaround here. I really don't. I pray that I'm wrong, but this is going to be a Hindenburg of a season.
And it's not as if
it's
not as if we can say, okay, we get past the Patriots and then we got a break. There's no break.
No.
Then we have a Thursday night game in Buffalo. It's a nightmare looking for a place to happen. It's like Steve said, we have to come to a point where we can just enjoy the people around us and be thankful we're on this side of the grass to watch a game that we love most of the time, even if it kills us. But my expectations starting last weekend, they have not gotten better, are zero.
Well, our guests are in the lobby. Let's go to the 0 hour. Steve, after another disappointing Sunday with the Miami Dolphins, frustration is in the building. Even the most connected alumni are speaking out following what many are calling an embarrassment debacle. Former players like Larry Sanka, Kimbo Camper, Strafford, Oye Manofi, and others has taken to social media to voice their disgust with the product on the field. Steve, our guests are in the lobby, but I want to know your thoughts. This was a debacle. Even Hootie and the Blowfish, Hootie was pissed off at the Dolphins. Well, come on, you pissed off Hootie.
Hootie's like, I am out of tears to cry. I don't have it anymore. You know what? I love to see it. I'd love to see, because you've got an owner, you've got all these people, and there's so many years of great personalities that have been around this organization, and they stay loyal to it. You've got the alumni and their aqua jackets, and they're always around, and they bring so much to it. But sometimes you wonder, are they really holding back? Zonka's the only one I've ever really seen up to this point that I paid attention to on social media who says, you know what, I don't like what they're doing right now. Man, Kim Bocamper came straight out and was like, this isn't good. OJ McDuffie was supposed to be on the podcast this week. He's like, I can't do it. He is that pissed off. I give the guy credit. Look, everybody here would love to be in a situation where the 2020 big, redo and rebuild of this team was going to, who knows, in some other alternate universe, Sammy, we are undefeated for 2 years in a row because it worked out so damn well. But it didn't. We want that. But because it's not, I'm glad it's not just the fans that are pissed off. It's the players, the celebrities are starting to say, this is ridiculous.
It's hard to explain math. We had so many bad years. Something must happen. So let's work our guest. Hello, guys. Welcome to Ashley and Lou. Hello. Sports Show. Hello, guys.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, what's up?
Well, guys, this was usually a disappointment. We've been through everything over here, but I don't think no one could expect that the debacle was. Even the most pessimistic fans, I don't think expected what happened. What are your thoughts on the debacle that was? And even the celebrities, the former players are turning on the Dolphins, and especially my Daniel. I'm going to start with Ashley. Ashley, what are your thoughts?
So I get to work today, and a few of the people at work were like, how about them Dolphins? And I said, what Dolphins? They didn't play last week, because that's not my team who played last week. So I'm in denial, first of all. I have to say that. I like how you guys brought up the celebrities, because I do want to make some points on that. So when you have celebrities like a Darius Rucker or former players like an OJ McDuffie talk about this, it humanizes them, first of all. It says, hey, at the end of the day, these people put on their pants the same way we do, and they're fans. So their heart is in this just as much as our heart is in it. Second of all, they have the platform to share their disgruntled feelings about it. Maybe we don't have such as big platform as they do, so they're the voice that maybe we can't even reach out to. So that's the second point I like about that. And then the third point I like about that is if these players and coaches can't hear us, they sure as heck can hear Darius Rucker. So they are, again, another voice of reason to get to these players. Beat that, Lou.
That's very well said.
Hey, look,
Lou, what are your thoughts? You just can't win.
I don't know to follow that up, but I'll try. Yes, the Dolphins will definitely, they may not listen to us, but they'll listen to those guys, because specifically with OJ and Larry Zonka, who wore the colors, wore the uniform, you want to listen to people like that who gave their blood, sweat, and tears on that field, not that field in particular, but all those years for the Dolphin organization. You'd think they want to listen to them. And also the celebrity aspect. Let's be real. Stephen Ross is all about tennis and Formula One and World Cup and soccer games. So maybe the celebrities are disappointed. Maybe it'll force him to make the actual changes that are needed to turn this around.
You know what? I had an idea. I got an idea, because we know how much the Dolphins love to bring in influencers. I think in training camp, they had the Love Island people there in a tent. Here's what people raise money to fly a banner over the stadium to fire somebody. Here, stop. I got it. We're going to raise money to hire an influencer to tell it like it is, because that'll hit home. Who's with me? Who's coming
I
with
love
me?
it.
That's a good
All right.
And
idea.
then
For sure.
donate that money to DCC on top of that. That's a win-win right there.
Exactly.
I like it. I like it. Earning money for the cause, but also getting what we need, which is our message to really, truly be heard. No. So we're talking 0 hour here, Sammy, and I admit I had to look. I looked up earlier today. I'm like, definition of 0 hour, because there are a couple different definitions, but one of them speaks to the military.
Steve.
Well, it speaks to my side of it speaks to the military preparation of operation that they're going to do. And you look at it, so I'm like, okay, as soon as I see that 0 hour is when it's go time. What's the preparation that goes into 0 hour for an NFL team when you've got 6.5, 7 months? You've got intelligence gathering and reconnaissance, high-level planning, logistics mobilization, deception and misdirection, final briefings, coordination, and the final countdown to get to what we got here. Every single team every week has 7 to 10 plays that they are going to run, that they're going to come out because they've been practicing it. They are the bread and butter. They know what they're going to do. You mean to tell me that for 6 months, I don't care, 3 months, 3 days, that Mike McDaniel, this was his plan, and this came off the way that they thought it was going to happen? The other 0 hour of it is the fact that, look, time's up. Doomsday clock, man. It's ticking that much closer, and I literally can't believe that this is what we were waiting around for. But the players, the organization, that they're looking at this and saying, God, that sucked, but it's okay. I don't know. Ashley, Lou, something.
So that Monday, we woke up and we spent the night at my family's house. The first words that come out of my grandma's mouth, who's a huge Dolphin fan, she goes, "Is Coach McDaniel fired?" That's what she wanted to know. And we're not here, right? At the end of the day, he's still a person. He's a family man. He has a job and stuff. And you never want to see anybody out of a job. But I mean, this is year 4, right? And I haven't seen anything that's impressive. I mean, is he going to go and be a Don Shula? I wasn't expecting that. But I mean, I just feel like he's declining at this point. His play calling is still not great. You don't see the fire on the sideline from him. You see other coaches, we've seen it all around the league this week, and just other coaches who just seem to have that fire and that grit, and I just don't see it with him. There's just no urgency. There's no leadership. I want it so bad. But I don't feel like we're going to get it, and I don't think we're going to get it now at year 4. That was year 1 or 2 to prove it, not at year 4.
Yeah, and I would say that, Steve, you touched upon it leading into your question to us. You spend the whole offseason talking about culture change, how things are going to be different, and then this is the way you come out in the first game of the season. Again, winning on the road is tough. We know about that. Yeah. But still, the Colts are an inferior opponent. Daniel Jones is a cast-off, all right? And let's be real. Not a lot of people mention this. This might be the playbook for Tua. They let Daniel Jones. They didn't let him play on the 5th-year option. They signed him long-term, and then they gave up on him after a year. Goes to Minnesota and then ends up with the Colts. And you can't go in there and beat a quarterback that nobody else wanted. So that's very concerning. And look, Ashley predicted 8 wins. She predicted 8-9. I predicted 10-7. She said no playoffs. I said playoffs, but a first-round exit. The issue here is that, regardless of what our predictions were, we both thought we would win this first game of the year against the Colts. And the fact that we didn't, now you got to make that game up somewhere else on the schedule. And it's not going to get easier. And I don't know what other game they can make up to make up for that loss on Sunday.
So to add on that, I just want to say that, this week 1 against the Colts, I didn't think it was going to be a walk in the park. I know the Colts, obviously Jim Irsay died a few months ago, and they did a beautiful ceremony for him. So I knew the Colts had a little more heart going into this as opposed to just a regular week 1, whatever. But in my wildest nightmares, because it's a nightmare, it's not a dream, it's a nightmare, did I ever predict that it would be a blowout like it was, right?
And I'd also like to add this. We were in Indy last year.
We were.
And that game was started by Snoop Huntley and finished by Tim Boyle, who made actually drove down 16-10 with a chance to win the game and threw one of the worst balls I've ever seen thrown. But to think that we were 16-10 losers last year, and this year with our full ensemble, a healthy Tua, and we lose by 25 points. It really should have been 33.
Bradley Chubb's back, Jalen Phillips.
That 8 point at the end was garbage time. We should have lost by 30-plus points.
Okay, we've been chopping at the bit ever since we saw Chop Robinson do what he did last year to say, what's it going to look like when we have Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson all on the field at the same time? I'm still waiting to find out what that's going to look like because I don't feel like we saw it last week.
And I wanted so bad to be on Team Weaver, right? I love Anthony Weaver. I go to bat for this man, right? And he didn't look good either. And I mean, you have all your weapons.
What did Bradley Chubb say? That this quote absolutely blew me away when Joe Shad tweeted it out, and then went on to explain it a little bit more to basically mansplain it for everybody out there that couldn't believe what they were reading. In the first tweet was they were freelancing. What went wrong on defense? Guys doing their own thing. Yeah. What the? Are you kidding me? How? I'm with your grandmother in this, Ashley. I thought he wasn't going to make it past Madrid. I don't think he makes it to Madrid.
Madrid was what my turning point too. I figured either he was going to have a one-way passport, or he was going to be stuck, or not come back with us. Madrid was the breaking point.
Listen, it could end in week 2, right? I mean, who would think it's a must-win game in week 2? It is. It is most definitely a must-win game. You cannot fall, 0-2 to a division opponent and then have another division opponent, the arch rival Buffalo Bills, 4 days later. So that cannot happen. And I'd like to add another thing here. Xavier Howard. He sits out a year and then rubs it in our face, talks trash about Tua, and comes up with a turnover after sitting out a year. Meanwhile, we get a guy who's been sitting out a year in Waller, and he can't get on the field. So it's just everything that could go wrong.
I gotta say one more thing.
Gone wrong.
Sorry, I have one more point to make. It just hit me. So we were watching Sunday night. We were watching the Ravens and Bills. I'm sure you guys were as well. And I think I felt like the kid who everybody else in the class got awesome Christmas gifts, and I got like a piece of coal, right? And I'm sitting there, and first of all, I'm thinking, we're nowhere near these teams. And then the second thing I thought was, we see these teams 3 times. We have the Ravens and the Bills, both Thursday night primetime games, and then we see the Bills down here again in November, first week of November. So first I was like, dang, I wish I had that. And then I'm like, oh, crap, like we're going to see these teams 3 times. So
Ashley,
I saw. Please go ahead, Shari.
I was gonna. When you first started, you talked about your grandmother, and you said, he's a family man, and he's got kids, and we don't want to see anybody out of work. And I feel that way all the time. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't want to see him out of work. I just want to see him out of aqua and orange. He can get a job somewhere else on another team, I don't think as a head coach. I don't wish ill will on people for football. That's not my point. But I'm done with the Dolphins being who his paycheck comes from, and all of these things we're talking about, the defense not functioning together, the players freelancing. There's a reason why they feel like they can get away with that, and that starts at the top, because if they respected him at all, they would never in a million years go off script like that in such a disastrous way consistently. So I don't dislike the man. I actually have also gone to bat for him for years. This is my first year of just saying, all right, at what point do you say enough's enough? You say I'm sorry enough times, stop being sorry, just go. Just done.
Guys, before you want to ask you one question, I appreciate you for being here. We love you guys at Fins TV. You're part of the Beacon League. We're going to give the results at the end of the show. Lou, you should stay. You should watch the repeat of the show, because I know you have another compromise after the show. But you should watch the repeat, because you're going to love what you're going to see on the Beacon.
Love it. Nice.
But I want to, before you go, I want to ask you one question. If the Dolphins can make one immediate change, do you have anything you can say to say, well, let's change this? Because there's so many things that left on the field on Sunday. I don't think one single fits it. But probably you have something in your mind that comes to your mind and say, well, I would tell him to do this. What would be your thoughts? Ashley or Lou, whatever.
You go first.
I think it's got to be a scare tactic. I know that sounds like childish to say, but I think it's the only way you could go about it. I know you're probably not going to get into it, but Tyreek had some more distractions come out today. I think it's got to be, if they can't win this week, look, people are going to get traded before the deadline. It's an audition at this point. You got to scare him, and McDaniel's got to be scared for his job. Everything is on the line. This is a must-win game, 100%, no doubt about it. And there's got to be fear instilled to the point where he says, look, I don't care who's rated number 1 in the depth chart. I'm playing whoever is going to save my job and whoever is going to come out here and get us wins. And that's what's got to take place.
I think the only thing I would add to that is that I don't want to say wash week 1 out of your head, but move on from it and kind of, I don't even say learn lessons, because if that's the case, it's, there's so many to start with. But I really think, Tua's going to start. McDaniel's going to be your coach. Despite how people feel about Tua, despite how people feel about McDaniel, like those factors are not changing going into Sunday. And because they're not changing going into Sunday, I think you just have to have the mindset, hey, this is a new week, and get it together, because we personally are going to Buffalo next week. And the last thing I want to do, first of all, be harassed by Bills fans. But on top of that, which, we'll deal with, but go into Buffalo 0-2.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah. So,
and the last thing I'll say here is really quick is, look, it's not all gloom and doom. It looked horrendous. I mean, 33-8 is unacceptable, right? But look, the Bengals had a bad, they've won the game, but barely beat the very lowly Browns. Joe Burrow, by the way, looked awful. Only 113 yards passing. Again, Tua's nowhere near Joe Burrow. But look, it's not all the way out of the realm of the possibility they could turn these things around this upcoming week. But I don't see anything that I saw on Sunday that's going to tell me that this season is going to go the way that would be a bright side here. And the last thing is, look, they need to start getting it from us, from the fans. They need to understand that we mean business and we will not deal with mediocrity anymore. Okay, they're going to send out October. They're going to send out the season ticket renewal email saying, "Hey, who's back on board?" They don't even give you the option. They just tell you that we're opting you in until you tell us otherwise. Fans need to speak with their wallets. Tomorrow, by the way, tomorrow they're unveiling the rivalry uniforms. Like
Thank you.
The big important thing to talk about.
I just wrote that down, Lou. I just wrote that down.
It's not about merch. It's not about releasing a new uniform. It's about winning damn football games, not what their agenda is. And they need to start listening to the fans, because we cannot keep putting up with this. It's past time. It's an embarrassment. And this team has a great tradition, a storied franchise, and it is sad. And that's why all those alumni that you mentioned are complaining the way they are. It hurts them, and it hurts us too.
Phenomenal points, Ashley and Lou. Sincerely, I had just written down, because I saw Travis Wingfield posting a video of the different thing. I will never, ever, ever give Travis Wingfield a hard time, because it's his employer. He's doing his job. And by God, I am jealous a lot of the time, because he has a business card from the Miami Dolphins that says his name on it. So
and he does a good job.
Phenomenal. He earned it. Ashley, Lou, phenomenal job. Enjoy Buffalo next week when you guys get up there. Eat some wings. I'm from up that way, and I have a lot of family, so I'm jealous that you're going to be up there this time of year. But as you go, I do want to kick it over to Jason Sarney real quick, because, Lou, you brought up a very good point that, let's say we fire him. We just start saying, you know what, you perform or you getting the hell out of here. Jason, who on the Dolphins have no trade clauses or get to pick where they want to go in their contracts?
I think everyone's fair game, frankly.
Okay, perfect. I start threatening these mother truckers with being like, you're going to Seattle. You're going to, like, the worst possible place you can go. We're going to keep you in Miami. Threaten them with that. What's worse than that, Rat? I'm kidding.
Well, I'll tell you what. You make a great point. But before that, Lou, Ashley, hell of a job on the Big E Strong bracelets. Got mine. You guys do some really tremendous work. So thank you for that. And just as it happens, before we went on the show, I took a gander at the Pittsburgh Steelers 2026 draft. They got 12 picks, a first, a second, 3 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, 2 sixths, and a 7th. That's a good place to start. And rumors have been swirling already that they're a team that's in the mix for Tyreek Hill. You're not going to get a first for Tyreek Hill. So get that out of the way. But if I'm Chris Greer, I'm saying, all right, I need at least 2 of the thirds. I want a 4th. I want a 5th. And you know what? Maybe we can get the 2nd, and I'll give you another player, because that's what you got to do. You got to match up with a team who is going to need 1 player. See, that's when you have to make a move for people. If you are 1 player away, like arguably the Steelers could be, when the Dolphins traded for Tyreek Hill, I don't know if they were 1 player away. Yeah, they traded for Bradley Chubb too. But these are sprinkles that you use on top of a loaded draft class. You don't sacrifice 2-3 years worth of premium draft capital when you haven't won a playoff game in 20 some odd years. And here we are on year 25, and we're probably going to have to add another year to it. So there's going to be business being done. And when you look at the schedule, the next 4 or 5 games, you can make an argument that every one of those teams ahead will be better and can be better than the Dolphins and even beat them.
And I want to piggyback on that for a second because we're talking about who's got these clauses, everybody's fair game. Last night, Steve and I were talking about Tua and how he's locked into that contract through 2026. And what do we do? Is he dead weight? And I said, no.
Shari had a very good answer.
On the bench, and you make him your backup and you bring in somebody else who's going to run this team. You keep him. Don't get rid of him for nothing. Don't pay him for nothing. Let him hold the clipboard. Let him Don Struck it. Let him go in there. He's not going to get a concussion probably sitting on the bench. He'll be there in an emergency. But find somebody who's going to be the leader going forward, who we don't have to hold our breath every time he touches the ball. And I don't want to hear an announcer say, well, that one just sailed on him. Well, a lot of them are sailing on him, if we're going to call it sailing. So if we're going to have all this money rolled up in him and we're going to pay him anyway, let him sit and be the backup. And we keep him around if we need him, but we have to do something. And so I don't think he's safe either as far as being a starter.
I like it.
Guys, before you go, we want to talk about you doing so much. You always do stuff for the community. You're very busy in the challenge, your business. But I want to talk about the Biggie bracelets. People all over the media are talking about the Biggie bracelets. I see Shari, you always trying to spread the wealth, as I said, because goodness, Biggie, we love Biggie here in Fins TV. I always say he's a Fins TV ambassador. He's done so much for so many others, and now is the time for us to do something for Biggie. I want to tell us a little bit more about the bracelets, actually.
Yeah. So Biggie is off paper one of my best friends in the whole entire world. We co-chair our DCC teams together, Worldwide Dolphin Fans, and Ian, as you guys know, has cancer. And on top of having cancer, he needs a liver transplant. So it's like, shoot, once you get past cancer, that's the one hurdle, but then we still need a liver transplant for you. And so, Biggie does such a fantastic job raising money for DCC. And I knew by him doing chemo and radiation, I didn't want him to worry about raising the money and making his goal. I wanted him to raise his goal, but I wanted to help. So that's what the bracelet idea came up with. I said, hey, we're going to make these bracelets. I'm going to cover some of the shipping, and then, proceeds will go right into your DCC. So I initially ordered 125 bracelets thinking, all right, let's get through them. Joke was on me because they sold out within 4 days, right?
Wow.
And so I did orders of 100, like the first 2 times. So up to 250, let's say. And then I said, I got to order a thing of 300. I said, I can't keep up with these orders. So now Lou, he has been upgraded from licking stamps to actually going to the post office. I was like, hey, my 9 to 5 job, I just can't go. So Lou goes to the post office like once or twice a week now. And so glad to, share that with the generosity of so many people. We've been able to put over $2,700 into his account just by selling. I don't want to say just by selling bracelets, but just by sale of bracelets, $2,800. And that's counting. I just wrote down 2 people.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so I have about 100 bracelets that you're going to put in your bag this week because Lou carries the pocketbooks in the bag store in the game. So find Lou, find me, and we're continuing. It's the only thing I haven't done yet is the international sales because I've never mailed anything international in my life. Okay. But I'm going to figure out because our international fan clubs are amazing and they want it too. So if there's a will, there's a way. Just let me learn how to send mail internationally and we'll get them out there.
You know what? You should find a point of contact so that you can send a bulk amount out and let them pick it up over there for you rather than constantly sending. Find a fan club person you can connect with that you can coordinate, and then it'll be easier for you and you'll still get it done.
Yeah. So I did that with Charlotte, with Donna out there. So they're already stacked for Charlotte, but you are right. It would help if I had it and they just do it and they fundraise. But I've sent over, honestly, it's like 270. I individually packed them. It's fun. I feel like I'm a little Santa's elf, but it all goes to Big E. He means so much to us. Today was his official halfway mark through chemo and radiation. So he's halfway through there. And then from that point on, he'll be still on the active list to get a liver transplant. The only good thing I want to add is that now that he ended up having cancer, he actually gets moved up on the list. And he's now a potential to get a liver from a deceased donor instead of a living one. So there's a little silver lining in everything that's happening.
Yep, and he deserves it all. You won't find a better person or a better ambassador, steward for our franchise, for our fans. And not alone, win it for him, have him, be upbeat and happy during this time of need. Yeah. And So hopefully the Dolphins could turn this thing around for Big E and for everything good that he stands for.
And we're going to be doing more things for him throughout the season. We don't think he's going to be able to make it to a tailgate, but during the holidays, we're going to do. We called it Santa Ian, but he's actually Jewish, so we're going to do a Hanukkah Ian. So we're going to do a big toy drive, and so there's a lot of fun things happening to bring his spirit down here and to continue his joyfulness and to show him how loved and appreciated it is while serving the community, which he'd be doing anyways if he wasn't, sick.
Yeah.
The Miami bench. I like
absolutely.
it.
I'm gonna try for 1 weekend. So save mine. I'm gonna take it in person. So I'll see you guys there, guys. I appreciate you. On the bottom, you can see the microsite for Ian's website to have a donor. That's the address over there, guys. I know Lou has to run. I appreciate you guys. Hopefully, we can talk back during the season. Have a great season. Let's do a best start with it. We'll talk again soon. Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Nice to see you guys.
We're gonna go now.
See you guys. Great work. As
we're
always.
gonna go around the Fins TV media before a little break.
Miami Dolphins are cooked. I said 2 years ago, Mike McDaniel's clever. He can be funny. I think he's a great offensive mind, but is he a leader of men? Now, the Colts are better than people think. Colts have a good roster, but that you can't have that. You can't have Daniel Jones going 7 for 7 on drives. That defense did not come to play. After the game, there were some concerning quotes from defensive players. Head coach is a CEO. It's not just a play caller. I don't doubt Mike McDaniel is a great play caller and will get a great OC job, but I also don't love the roster. When you watch those two teams play, Colts had way more good players, and it wasn't particularly close.
I don't know about him going to the Chiefs, and I don't think the Dolphins are thinking of trading Tyreek Hill now. But if the season continues to go this way, obviously, you'd have to think that all options will be on the table at that point in time. They're trying to turn things around. It's one game on the road in Indianapolis against a Colts team that hadn't won an opener in almost 4,400 days, that came in inspired with Tim Irsay being inducted into the Ring of Honor. I'm just up 4,400 days back, but the Colts came out with the fury of and they laid out the Dolphins. But the Dolphins still think they have a good team. Now, again, it's up to them to go out and prove it. So they're not going to trade away Tyreek Hill now. If they have more games like that and the losses start piling up, I think all of us logically would have to think at that point in time, you start looking to the future. But they're not there right now after week one. But Tyreek Hill, he has been missing that big play explosion. It's been exactly a year since he had his last play of over 30 yards. They need to get him going.
What?
He's a major weapon. Yeah, there it is.
What?
There it is. Happy anniversary, or unhappy anniversary.
It was a leap year, though, so maybe we wait till tomorrow.
Good point.
Jeez.
I've always said when it comes to the Dolphins, their play style doesn't, it's not conducive to long-term success in the National Football League. Mike McDaniel, he draws up a lot of eye candy and try to fool people, but in the National Football League, it's about the line of scrimmage. It's about, it's about physicality, imposing your will on that. There's none of that with the Miami Dolphins. And I've talked about their culture down there stinks. We've been talking about it all off season, and when you come out there and lay an absolute egg on week one, 33-8 to Daniel Jones in week one, like, come on, give me a break.
For the Dolphins defense, it's like nobody was out there being targeted. They didn't, hey, we're going to pick on this guy, or this person had a terrible game, this is how they kept scoring. Man, they went 4 yards, 5 yards, 2 yards, 10 yards. Like, they really methodically marched down the field, kept the Dolphins defense on the field, limited the Dolphins offense opportunities. And when the Dolphins got offensive opportunities, they turned the ball over. So it wasn't a we can't do nothing or we can't stop them. They made the necessary plays. It was very much complimentary football on the Colts part. Offense keep the ball, keep the time of possession. They dominated time of possession. 70 plays for the Colts offense. 46 plays for the Dolphins. Dominated time of possession. And through those opportunities and limited opportunities for the Dolphins, 3 turnovers. Nobody individually got their ass whooped. Like I watched the tape. Nobody, man on man, got their ass whooped. Coach executed better, for sure. They did. They executed better. They made the necessary plays. Dolphins' mistakes were magnified. Colts' mistakes were minimized, and they were able to respond. Any negative play, tackle for loss, any miscue, minimized. They made the play the next snap.
Well, the chat has been very, very active. We have not had
yes, it has.
About the chat, but Adrian's here, of course, Cosa Nostra, I want to say thanks to Hudson Ostrom to Beer Fanatics who sent super chats last week. It was a busy show, and I apologize. I didn't. He say hi to Shari. Because say hi to Shari. Yeah.
Hi,
Let me see
Kosa.
what is here. Lou from Dade before he was here. Loves Steve McDaniel impression. Didn't have a chance to talk to Lou about that. Lou loves your Steve, my McDaniel impression too. Let's see who else is here. Everybody's here in the chat. Okay, who else is here? Let me see.
Adrian's on fire, man. I love it.
Oh no, Adrian's always on fire. Cap for life. I'm gonna see this one.
Good to see you, Cap. Good to see you,
It's
Kosa.
not gonna feast nada. Try to stop feeding the cash cow. Yeah, that's a very popular opinion. The fact that the fans are keep spending money in the Dolphins and the Dolphins keep putting an egg. So, and of course our guys on the Bobby and the Feed Talk Sports Network. What's up, people? Love the All-Star crew. Thank you to Bobby. Thank you to all watching. Well, guys, before we let's talk a little bit more before we go to the what's the word segment. I want to talk a little bit more with Shari and with Steve. I'm sorry, and with Jason. Shari, the media is up on arms, pounding on the Dolphins like they always do. But now, right now, there's nothing too much we can do about it because they're basically right. The celebrities are pounding on the Dolphins. The the former players are pounding on the Dolphins. Now Chris Greer and Mike Daniel that they laid the bed. Now they had to sleep on it. What are your thoughts?
It's so bad that you wonder how they didn't know how bad it was. I don't know how they all stood around practice and stood around the facility and functioned day to day without saying, we are on red alert. This is not working. Something that we think is coming together as a team is as fractured as it can be in all aspects. I don't know how nobody's seeing this there. And if they are, why aren't they doing anything? And that's concerning because they're either delusional or they're in denial or they don't care. They're apathetic. None of those are acceptable answers to their thought processes. So I'm glad. I'm so excited to finally see the likes of OJ and Kim Bocamper. As Steve said, I've seen Zonka be critical before. He's not one to hold his tongue. When he starts going off on you, though, really going off on you, you better watch your ass because he's a mean man and he will freaking kill you. But it's important that this comes from more than just us because they have proven year after year after year, we really don't matter. Ultimately, we really don't make a damn bit of difference to the people that are way up here. So we need people who are closer to their eye level to be very vocal and very loud. So I think it needs to continue. And until the delusion stops, until we all come out of the fever dream, I don't see it getting any better.
Jason, on Sunday you said it was a fireable offense. I think you got it right on the money, but the Dolphins are probably not gonna fire by Daniel today. I want to know your thoughts because the tide is turning on my Daniel Greer. I have my reservations if they will find a way to survive this, but I don't think they would. What are your thoughts, Jason?
I am circling week 6. The reason why I am circling week 6 is because they very well could be 1-4 going into that. And then if they lose to the Chargers and Justin Herbert at home, they will be going into a 2-game road trip with the Cleveland Browns and the Atlanta Falcons. And then they start the gauntlet, which would be the Ravens, the Bills, and the Commanders. Now, in the middle of that is a November 4th trade deadline. So, if you are 1-5 at best, potentially, you're not taking Tyreek Hill on a 2-game road trip and then a gauntlet and then he's with you for the rest of the year. So unless they pull off 2 or 3 wins in the next month, where even if they lose to the Chargers, they're still mathematically okay, then you might see what you can do with that gauntlet. You might not trade people, and then you might have to just see what McDaniel could do on that 3-game stretch. But maybe they could beat the Panthers. But if they do not beat the Patriots, they're going to lose against the Bills. We're going to watch Mason Taylor score a touchdown or 2 with Jason Taylor watching on a primetime game. You know what's going to happen. And then you have the Panthers and then Justin Herbert Bowl. So I hope I'm wrong. I will pray that I'm wrong. But after week 6, everything's going to come down.
Well, next week in Buffalo, not this coming week, but next week, they can all podcast and talk about how Miami's a trap game for them. And so we could go in to
Let me tell you.
The week 3 trap game. I love
tell
it.
me we don't talk, tell me we wouldn't say it. Like, this is a trap game for us.
At this point, if the Bills are going to come back and do what they did against the Ravens, a Super Bowl contender. Look, it was Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson, the last 2 league MVPs. So the reigning MVP showed why he's the MVP. If the Bills come close to losing the game against the Dolphins, could anybody see that? Could anybody literally see that right now?
No.
With realism? So that's a 42-6 shellacking waiting to happen.
That's generous.
And that is generous. I mean, I'm usually a positive guy. I'm going to find the optimism here. But I'm looking for reasons to blow it up quicker and get the most out of what you can get right now, because there's a quarterback class coming up that's rather good. And I'm sorry, if you're going to get into the first 1 or 2 or 3 picks, you don't make the mistake of drafting a lineman. I love Jake Long way back when, but you could have drafted Matt Ryan.
Matt Ryan, yep.
You could have drafted Matt Ryan. You drafted an all-pro player, but you couldn't retain him. He was an all-pro with the Rams. So I'm not saying Manning, I'm not saying any specific quarterback, but the Dolphins have insured themselves with how they built up their draft capital in last draft for this coming year, and they reset financially, where it is basically an insurance policy, whether that's on Tua, whether that's on a new coaching regime. But there are 2 or 3 or 4 even viable quarterbacks that you should, here it comes, rebuild the franchise with. Because, again, pray that I'm wrong. And if I'm dead wrong, splice this all over the world and I'd be thrilled.
You know what? So, Sammy, I opened earlier today thinking that we were going to run out of stuff to talk about. I think we are going to have a lot of stuff to talk about in the coming weeks and in the season, because there are a lot of different combinations and permutations of what this season could end up as and what the 2026 Dolphins could potentially look like. So I don't want to be down on them so much that we're sticking a fork in them already, but damn if that wasn't, if we're looking at 0 hour and this was a military operation, that was absolutely getting slaughtered on the field and just going back and saying, holy cow, we were not ready for that. It's a level of mediocrity. It was below mediocre. And to have the celebrities, I really like what Ashley said, that finally seeing the human side of the celebrities, the former players and everything of literally, it humanizes them, and they're using that platform. You hope that it's going to have an impact, and hopefully it does continue. Hopefully it keeps on going, but we have to stop accepting mediocrity, and you have to hope that the organization says enough is enough. We need to stop dealing with mediocrity, and whatever we've been doing for the past 25 plus years is not doing that for us. And but it's Jason, you give me some food for thought here, man. I'm going to get kind of crazy with what I think we could end up doing here by the end of the season. But
and the thing is, and I don't even want Chris Greer making the draft picks that they might accumulate, because you also have a guy in Champ Kelly who might be the step up to shop for his own groceries. And then if I'm going to bring this up again, I brought this up on the post game. You can't bring in a new head coach who, number one, doesn't have head coaching experience, and number two, you're giving them an inherited coordinator and quarterback. The reason why they got Mike McDaniel is because, and this is speculation, but a pretty heavy speculation with confidence. What coach like a Harbaugh, what coach like anybody who's won a Super Bowl will say, yeah, I'll come on in. We'll keep the quarterback. I'm not going to bring in my own people on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, I'll sign. No chance in high holy hell. So you get what you pay for. You got a first-time head coach whose expertise was in designing plays. He's had some success calling plays like 2023, but then everybody figured him out. And there's been no reactionary coaching or reactionary play calling. Colin Cowherd, I don't like agreeing with. I half agreed with what he said on that clip, but He's not a hell of a play caller. He's a hell of a play designer.
Correct.
He has had seasons, plural, and it's dipping now into the third, where his play calling, his personnel, his timing, his location of the field while doing all of it is wrong. You say you got heavier on the trenches. You give Ollie Gordon 2 carries. You activate Jeff Wilson. You activate Jeff Wilson after bringing him back, and he has 0. You have Willie Gay on the defensive side of the ball, who is everyone's favorite camp player, has 0 snaps. The maintenance was awful. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to destroy McDaniel here, but he ain't the guy.
And why is Ingold catching passes in the middle of the field?
Why is Ingold running motion sweeps
vertical
and
left, yeah.
What
the hell? What defensive Lou Amarulo is going to say? Oh my God, the fullback's running a motion. Someone check the fullback.
I don't know.
What the hell?
Malpractice.
Absolutely.
It's like when I tried to dribble the ball up the court when I was a basketball player after I got a rebound. The coach was like, "That's not your job. You got the rebound. Give the ball to a point guard." Everyone in the gym said, "Sorry, pass the freaking ball."
Oh man! On that note, let's play some What's the Word. There's Steve. Okay, let's play some What's the Word. I'm going to start with Steve. Steve, starting next week, the Dolphins will blank. What's the word?
Starting next week? Flush.
The Dolphins?
Flush. Flush as in flushing the toilet. They're going to start figuring out what they need to do to start changing this over to prep for 2026. It's the writing is on the wall after that much. That's my word. Flush. I'll leave it for there.
I like to catch everybody off guard with this segment. Jason, you're next. Starting next week, the Dolphins will blank. What's the word?
Inquire. Hey, what do you need? Ding, ding, ding. Hey, what do you need?
How about you, Shari?
Inquire around the league.
I'm starting with
the Dolphins will blank.
I'm starting with an I word as well, only I'm going with implode, because I think this is all going to come crashing down around them, and I think it's going to be a hot freaking mess before it gets any better, because if they haven't seen rock bottom yet, then they're in for a rude awakening, and I think this team's going to implode before anything gets better.
If it's week one and what was it, halfway through the game, Tyreek Hill was on the sidelines on the bench all animated, and you could tell he was aggravated. Man, he's I think that it's going to be like an Antonio Brown. Hopefully they can trade him before he goes Antonio Brown and just rips his jersey off and goes shirtless into the tunnel wherever he might be. Because I could see him doing that. Yep.
We have not spoke too much about it, but with the news of the allegation against Tyreek Hill, I don't know, that trade value probably went a little after today. I told him to trade during the season. They told me I was crazy, but there we go. Well, the Dolphins actually next week have their home season opener against the Patriots. What's whacked? A touchdown? I don't know.
What's a touchdown?
I don't know.
It's when they land in the city that they're going to play in next.
That's what it said. That's the only touchdown we got.
Splash down.
Absolutely. Just one question. I'm going to start with Shari. I'm not going to go into the mumbo jumbo of the Dolphins offense against the Patriots defense, the coaching matchup. Let's keep it straight, because we can analyze all we want. At the end of the day, we don't know any idea where this team is going to go. So every single week, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Who wins on Sunday, in your opinion, Shari?
Who wins on Sunday? Not us. None of the four of us that are sitting here. And I hate to say it because in the Pick'em League, I will not pick against the Dolphins no matter what. Would lose every game this year. On paper, I will not put it down. I won't pick against them because I play that for fun. I'll let you guys fight it out for glory. The Patriots for sure. I have no doubt in my mind the Patriots will win. If we don't figure out a way to establish some kind of a run game and get Ollie Gordon into this game and get some blocking on the line, any quarterback back there is going to have time to throw if we don't stop the rush. So there's so much on offense that has to happen before we even look at the defensive front and have them try to get some. There's no, in my opinion, there is no way we come out with a W next week.
Jason, I hate putting you on the spot, but who do you think is worse on Sunday?
Sammy, the only way I'm seeing a ring this year is if I win this damn Pick'em League. So if you think I'm picking the Dolphins to win,
you're in the right.
You're a damn fool. And a shout out to Josh Houts. And I hate to twist the knife here.
My man.
You know he went 15-1.
Yes.
You know what the loss was.
He picked Miami.
Yeah.
Shut the front door.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And I'm in third place right now on that sucker. So
because I picked Chicago
here and not here. So I'm picking
the
Patriots to win. And another thing, I love going into like the stats and the numbers and kind of the probabilities, you know. The Dolphins have not beaten the Patriots 5 straight times since a very similar year. Would you like to take a venture of a guess what year was the last time they went 5 straight against the Patriots? It was 2001, the last time on the calendar that they won a playoff game. So mathematically, adding to Vrabel and the other factors that I mentioned earlier, I'm picking the Patriots to come on into Hard Rock, even their season slate out at 1-1, and to send us to 0-2, eventually 0-3 against Buffalo. And we're going to get to the fruition that I basically laid out. This is going to be a Hindenburg season, folks.
Yes.
And
Before Steve gives his pick, I want to just say you're playing for a ring in this league, and House's only loss was the Dolphins because he picked with his heart. My poor son has a fantasy football team, and he had Pittman on his team this week, and he comes to watch all the games with us, and he put him on the bench and came and said, just so you know, just for you, I have Pittman on the bench so I don't have to root for him against the Dolphins, and my poor, wonderful, amazing son lost this week by 6 points.
Oh,
and
no.
The person he put in instead was Cooper Kupp. So I apologize to my son. His heart ruined his week. So I am freeing him from that burden, and going forward, he may play whomever is on his team. And I will tell you guys, Josh Allen is his quarterback, which makes me sick. But my son has my blessing to stop worrying about the Dolphins.
On a side note, for all your fantasy league news, go to Jason's Dolphins Wire because he's doing a great job. Steve, easy, sweet and short. Who is on Sunday, in your opinion?
Who wins? I think the Patriots win. I agree with Lou that this is an absolute. I agree with everybody here. It's an absolute must win. But in my opinion, it's not just when you have to show that last week was not just an anomaly. You have to go out and just dominate in some way, shape, or form, but I don't think it's possible. I think the Patriots come in and absolutely just punch us in the mouth, make a statement. Vrabel's back in town in New England, and they're going to have something to prove. So hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Next in the big finish, we're going to talk a little bit about the Pick'em League. Steve was always telling me how much he appreciates all the jobs you do in production. So I'm not gonna brag, but it takes a lot of work. And last night, I did the Pick'em League standing before the game, and I said, I proudly said, Steve was, come on, Steve is third place. I'm not gonna spoil the ending of that, but he already told you he picked the Bears. So you know what's coming next. Let's go to the big finish. Well, we have almost 300 people watching all platforms. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, Steve, I got to write you over here. That's my mistake. These things happen. And
you disappeared, Steve.
There you are. I want to appreciate thanks to all who's watching all platforms. Please like and subscribe. They are on YouTube, we're on X, we are on Instagram, we're Facebook, we're everywhere. I wanna say thank you to all of you for being here. It's been a rough week as a content creator. We're gonna have a lot to talk about during the season, but as a content creator, to get inspired to do a show sometimes can be a little bit difficult. So having said that, I'm very happy that we had the pick and league because this is gonna be a lot of fun.
Neon nights, the city's alive. Pick 'em dreams under the 305 sky. Touchdown thoughts, I'm feeling the vibe. Every choice could take me high. Who's got the eye? Who's got the streak? Who's calling plays like a champion peak? Week by week, it's more than a game. Glory's waiting, so remember the name. Fins up, lights down. Who's gonna wear the crown? Pick 'em right, don't let it slip. Miami Heat on every pick. Fins TV, it's do or die. We're chasing wins, no alibi.
Well, the standings particularly here picking up. Brina number 10, Lydia number 9, number 8, Bobby Finstock, number 7, Lou from Dade, and number 6, Antoine Stanley, number 5, Dick Mendon, number 4, Steve, and number 3, Jason Sarney, and number 2, our friend Chaba, and number 1, House Season.
TV, it's do or die. We're chasing wins, no alibi.
Well, just like Jason said, Jason spoiler for us. Thank you, Jason. But House basically lost one game, and that really, really hurts. He would have an undefeated season probably if he would have picked against the Dolphins. But so many of us who love the Dolphins, it's hard for us to pick against the Dolphins. But congrats on House winning the first week of the Pick and League, Steve.
Oh, it was impressive, definitely, and I admit I fell asleep last night before the Bears game finished up. The way that they were playing, I thought for sure the Bears were going to win, and then I see that it was very, very close, and it ripped it out. But I have zero expectations of bringing this late into the season and being a contender. I'm just interested to see how some of the heavyweights really start battling it out as we get deeper into the season for the Fins TV Season 2 Pick'em League ring.
And I don't want to hear anybody say they forgot to make their picks as their reason for losing. Adrian.
Oh, no.
I don't want to spoil where Andrew is the. Adrian did not have a pretty good week. Adrian, if you're watching, I'm sorry, bro, but you have a horrible week this week. You were so close last
Don't
year.
pick on my guy Adrian like that. Come on now.
I love Adrian. Jason, you're around in the mix. Jason's usually top 3, top 4. Jason is always consistent. So Jason, you're off to a great start, Jason.
Thanks. That's been a hell of a start of the season, Sammy.
Well, I'd rather start hot than start at the bottom. So, it is what it is. Well, we want to again thank the over. Oh, the number is up. We're over 415 watching our platform, and Steve is out again. Let me do some magic over here.
Is that all it takes? I just have to push a button?
Yes. Man, we gained like 100 people following just for that Fins TV Pick'em League moment. I love it.
Absolutely. Steve did such a great job. He did not mute himself once, and I screwed the camera. What can you say? Those things happen. For more details on the Fins TV crew, please go to finstv.com. We're still working on that, but I appreciate all you all. Well, Steve, Shari, Jason, I appreciate you. I wanted to keep it short and sweet. I didn't want to bring a whole cast of crew because after this week, it was rough for us. So I appreciate you guys for always being here.
They're a great show.
Always a pleasure, guys.
Thank you so much.
I'm sure he's not watching because, Matt is always traveling. But Matt, if some way this gets to you, we always miss you. I'm going to see if there's some comments over here that we probably would have missed before we go.
It's been fun over there, man.
Help me a little bit before I put the last comments over here. Let's see if we can find something.
Let's see what we got. Adrian, man. Adrian's been bringing it the whole time. Exactly. They don't care. Keep spending that money. Man, all they want is our money. Stop giving it to them.
I mean, look, you got to listen. There's football teams that are in the business of winning football games, and there's football teams that are in the business of making money. And there's
most important one of those is somebody said facts, Steve. Somebody agreed with me, but I think Kosa said that Jake Long was the right pick. I got to say something on that. And Jason, I apologize. I know I cut you off, man. Everybody was always talking about how Matt Ryan should have been the pick. Jake Long, we picked the wrong one. You can't have that mentality because we have no clue if we get the version of Matt Ryan that went to Atlanta and became who Matt Ryan was. He could have come to Miami, had an absolutely horrible left tackle and got murdered and didn't make it through a single season. We don't know. I do still think that Jake Long was the right pick, but here we are this many years later still waiting for a quarterback who's going to become a long-term franchise quarterback for us, not talking about a Tannehill or Tagovailoa.
Totally fine to say that, but it's a situation where he was a great player and it wasn't a bad pick, but for a franchise that had been needing a quarterback for so many years since the last one, you draft a left tackle to protect the franchise quarterback that early. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. There's really not a right or a wrong, but when you look at what Matt Ryan's career was,
100%.
Ask yourself, what if? And the Dolphins have had a history of passing and doing things their own way. And it's not what necessarily you do, it's what you don't do.
I was going to say, how many drafts have we watched and had the WTF moments for them? I mean, it just becomes you expect it.
You mean you weren't happy with Deion Jordan and the Charles Harris picks?
Oh, God. I remember where I was with Deion Jordan. I believe that Jake Long was one of the last draft picks where the teams could negotiate a contract, and it was just some exorbitant, ridiculous amount of a rookie contract that he got. I think he was the last one. Thanks, Miami. You ruined it for everybody.
Absolutely. For those of you who we reached the 500 mark, for also you to join us for the Pick and League, you have to get here early because that's the last segment of the show. So I want to thank you all for coming. We're gonna put the video of the Pick and League rankings on our X page for tomorrow morning for everyone to see. So thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see what happens this week. It's a season opener for the Dolphins. Anything can happen. Maybe this week the Dolphins find a way. I don't think so, but they find a way to win, and we'll have to talk about the dreaded Buffalo Bills. So it is what it is. So thank you guys. No matter what, when you say Miami, always look at Super Bowl. Fins
up, y'all. Super Bowl.
Thanks for watching Fins TV. Please like and subscribe. Fins up.